Welcome back to the KWCH Origin Show. I'm happy to be joined by a former, I guess, you're always a professional wrestler when you do it. Uh,
I guess. It's
yeah,
kind
he's
of
an
like the mob,
actor,
you never can leave.
an actor, a wrestling trainer, does a lot of things involved with Ohio Valley Wrestling. His name is Al Snow. Al, how's it going?
It's going great, and thank you so very much for giving me the time today.
Yeah, thank you. So you have a new movie out. I guess we'll start with that. It's called Learning You. You
Yeah,
play a stuffed bear from someone's subconscious. That's not a
yes,
challenge, right? That's totally you.
not difficult, to be an imaginary stuffed bear with the voice kind of helped lend itself, I think, to being a bear. But it was really a lot of a lot of fun. Definitely a challenge to try to emote being in a bear suit and not making it look silly or cartoony, but trying to make it as real as you possibly can. So I certainly enjoyed it and had a great time, especially the lead actor John Wells. Every time he would just look at me, he would start laughing. So I tried everything I could to try to break him on set. Anytime we were doing a scene together, I would try to make him laugh.
Yeah, you've been in several movies, and I was thinking, Al Snow, actor. I was trying to weigh that in my head, and then
Yeah.
like an epiphany, like, okay, Al Snow's probably a pretty good actor. He's been funny on screen in wrestling. He's been serious. He's been intense. He's been scary. You have some range, right?
I hope so. It's very tough to evaluate your own performance, and you know, everybody seems to be happy with it. No one's thrown fruit or vegetables at me yet, while at the screen while I'm watching a movie with them. So I guess I'm able to pass by.
Yeah, is that something you had your eye on during your professional wrestling career while you were more active in the ring? Did you always have an eye like I could go be an actor? Because like I said, it's not too big of a stretch.
It's not. It's a pretty natural extension of what I'd already been doing. But when I first came in and did the very first time, I realized just how dramatically different it was from what I do when I come out and I'm in a wrestling ring. I'm not really an actor in professional wrestling. I'm what I do is an extension of who I really am. If you want to liken it to being an actor, I guess method acting might be close. Um, and I've got to do everything bigger, more reach an audience way up in the cheap seats. Where on film you've got to just go to just the camera and really use more just your eyes and your face to emote and not your whole physical body. So it's different. It's a different world, and it's taken a little bit of time to learn the ins and outs. And I'm by no means proficient at doing it, but I really do enjoy it for
How
sure.
did you how did your time as Avatar help you get under that bear head?
Well, there have been several times in my career where I've had to wear a mask,
Yeah.
and that honestly, it's there are some guys that in the history of the wrestling business have been dramatic attractions, all because they were able to convey emotion and a personality in spite of wearing a mask that covers their face. So, I've had some experience, but nothing like wearing a giant bear head for hours at a time on set.
For sure. I turned on a random Raw the other day from like early '96, and there you were
Yeah,
as Leaf Cassidy. I feel like what
yeah.
I know about you now that maybe that was a little bit of outside of your natural personality. Is that true? And what characters that you've played in wrestling have been closest and farthest away from who you really are?
Well, the probably closest would be I was simply sensational Al Snow in Smoky Mountain Wrestling with Jim Cornette, and that was kind of a I was kind of a smarmy, condescending, smart alecky heel bad guy. Would start a fight, and then I'd let my Glenn Jacobs, who's the mayor of Knoxville now, I'd let him come in and put a stop to the fight, type of thing. That was close, because I can be a bit of a smart aleck, um, and then doing the gimmick with the head again allowed for me to make smart alecky, funny comments, sarcastic insider remarks and things like that within conveying that and that frustration that I had at the time. which wasn't, it was my own fault, um, but it allowed a voice and it was believable, and that's why it worked. So
Yeah, I kind of halfway made light of the Avatar character, but that's
yeah,
what got your foot in the door,
I
basically,
did.
with WWF. Did you look at it like that at the time, or did you see, or did you say, how do I make this work for 6 months or a year? What's going
Uh,
to be next?
yeah, I just saw it as an opportunity, and if I, it's one of those crazy things. Like if I knew now, if I knew then what I know now, I could have made it work a lot better. But I just didn't understand how to change that direction and operate within that the confines of the whole idea that I was going to come out without a mask on, put the mask on in the match, and then take it back off again. I didn't quite understand how to communicate that, and I
Yeah.
do now, but at the time it didn't really work.
That
So
makes sense. How much of a learning experience were those first 5 years or so? Like maybe
oh
before you go to ECW, like you said, if you knew then what you know now, how much
yeah,
do you reflect on that still?
all the time. I mean, and I don't regret any of it. It was all necessary to do, but um, I still, every show that I operate, I learn something every time I'm watching the talent in the ring. I assess what they're doing, and I better understand what it is that I should have done in those positions. And I tell all of the prospective talent, that are coming into the wrestling business, I'm like, I don't teach you based on what I know. I teach you based on my mistakes. So I wouldn't know these things if I hadn't made those mistakes.
Yeah.
So I'm glad, and I've been very lucky. I've been doing this now for almost 44 years, and I've been making it up the entire time I've been doing it, and nobody's yet to figure out I have no clue what I'm doing. So
That's the way to get by in life,
yeah,
right? Just fake
yeah,
it till you make it.
I've been faking it for a long time. So
I get it,
yeah,
trust me.
I've yet to make it, but I've been faking it.
Yeah, so like I said, you do end up in ECW. Do you feel like you were a product of the times then, or did you just look around and say, for lack of a better word, this business is getting a little bit more extreme. I'm going to have to adapt to what it is.
Not really, because when I entered into the wrestling business back in 1982, there were regional offices. There was one in Minneapolis, there was one in Charlotte, North Carolina, there was one in Memphis, Tennessee, there was one, used to be anyways before it went out of business in the early 70s up in Detroit. And each one of those regions had their own style and approach of what drew an audience in that particular area. And so traveling around, you learn to adapt, and you learn to sell an audience what they bought a ticket to see, which is, and believe in, which is number one, first and foremost, always you. People want to believe in you, and then they want to believe in why you're doing it, and that it's an actual contest. Professional wrestling is the art form of physical storytelling within the context of a competitive situation. So, audiences have known since, gosh, the late 30s, early 40s in the United States that wrestling is predetermined, but they've still attended by the thousands for years, for decades, events, because they're able to, no different than a movie or reading a book, they're able to get engaged in who the characters are and in the challenges they have to face. And when a particular character wins, they feel like they've won too, or or the villain is vanquished, then they feel like there's a villain in their life that they've been able to defeat.
We see kind of the likeness sort of the mannequin head there behind you with the
Yeah,
help me. So what
yeah.
did you understand about a presentation with a mannequin head and building its popularity that maybe you had lacked understanding with the weird mask thing and Avatar?
Well, it was at the time I was very frustrated, which you know you I did learn a very valuable life lesson, and that is I can't control anyone but myself. And once I took control of myself, that was where things started to change. I stopped putting the responsibility and the onus for my success on other people, and put it on myself. And I wanted, I used basically the head to demonstrate that I'd had a nervous breakdown, and gave voice to that frustration I had, making sarcastic comments and remarks and things of that nature that an audience believed, because for me, it was true, at the time. And an old wrestling promoter out of Memphis, Tennessee, Jerry Jarrett, said a brilliant thing. And he was like, if you want anybody to believe a lie, kid, tell them just enough of the truth and they'll believe anything in the lie. And that's what I did. That part of me was a little bit of the truth. And people back then, not proud of it, but I am kind of proud of it, that if you asked 9 out of 10 people, they'd have swore I was completely medically diagnosed insane. So, they believed. And I did some ridiculous stuff on television that anybody else would never have been able to get away with. And when I would do it, everyone was entertained by it because they just were like, yep, he's nuts. I did a eulogy, like a 9-minute eulogy for a deer head that I thought talked to me when one of the guys had beaten it into pieces, and I went out and performed a eulogy for the deer head. So, that, and nobody went, well, come on, he's not, he doesn't really believe that it's his friend that got killed, but they did. So,
I think you
yeah.
probably answered this question by talking about just the believability of it and your dedication to it. But why do you
Mhm.
think that particular presentation caught the attention of WWE at the time?
I think because it was different, it was unique. It really engaged the audience, and all of that was because they could believe in it, and that's, I give that advice to everyone. I've done speaking engagements, not just for wrestling, but for other things, and my advice is, if you can get people to believe in you, they'll believe in anything you say and they'll believe in anything you do. And I'm a great example of that. People actually believed, and to this day, that I could knock another human being unconscious with a plastic head. And I can't even knock a toddler out. I mean, I've tried, and that just
Of
results in
course.
really an uncomfortable conversation with the parents. They're like, "We're going to call the cops." I'm like, "Well, call them on your son." So call him on Billy. He's up running around crying. Big Show fell down and stayed down. So
It's bizarre. Uh,
yeah.
so when do you feel like you gained the most knowledge? Maybe not a year or a month or a day, but what kind of period of your career did you emerge from saying, well, I really kind of know the ins and outs of this business now?
Well, I don't think I've ever kind of gotten there yet,
Okay.
to be honest. But I think when this was in the early 2000s, when WWE asked me to come basically here to Louisville, Kentucky, to take over the developmental program for them. They were in a partnership with OVW, and they wanted me to operate the developmental program. And when I started explaining and telling and teaching the younger talent, I started going, oh, that's where I made the mistake. Oh, that, and I really had a lot of revelations of just exactly where I had opportunities that I didn't think I had, that I didn't see for what they really were, until I started telling others, hey, here's this opportunity, and you need to understand this. And then I went, yeah, that's where I messed up. Yeah, that's my fault. Yeah. So teaching other people has given me a lot of enlightenment in regards to understanding better the subject matter that I am teaching. So, you know, I learn more by teaching others than I ever have by just through my own experience.
Yeah, as a head trainer at OVW, you obviously, I mean, I won't say obviously. What part of you wants is really after these performers getting to the next level, and what part of you, hey, I just want to make these better performers, better wrestlers, maybe better people?
I'd say all of it. I come from an era where it was a very much a closed, wrestling was a very closed secular business, very difficult to get in. Tell people all the time on interviews that it was easier to be a made man in the mafia than it was to get in the wrestling business. It was definitely like the Masons or In the other group, you needed to know somebody, somebody needed to know you, you needed to be a relative, because whoever brought you in were held responsible for anything and everything you did. And they did not want to take a chance on you ruining their ability to make a living. And so it was tough to get convince somebody to allow you, for them to take over, because now you carried their reputation around. And to this day, the professional wrestling business is still very much a relationship business. It's still people's names can open doors and people's names can close doors. And I realized a long time ago that the only thing, period, the only thing, whether it's in wrestling or just in general in life, the only thing you truly have, is just your name, just your reputation. You have nothing else. Quite honestly, people think, oh, I got a house, I got a car. No, you don't. You have a name,
Yeah.
you have a reputation. And that's the one thing you get to take with you. And that's the one thing you leave behind is your name and your reputation. And I I feel, I could be wrong, but I feel like I have a good name and I have a good reputation within the wrestling business. Spent 40 plus years building it. I ain't got 40 years left to build another one. So I endeavor to ensure that every single one of these talent are as good as they possibly can and have the best opportunity to have success for themselves, because that's a reflection on me. It's not because I'm some magnanimous guy that's all charitable and just wants to do it for them. I'm doing it because at the end of the day, it makes me look good. The more of them that are successful, the more I am successful as well. So, that's my legacy in the wrestling business.
For sure. I think a lot of people who watched, or most people probably who watched The Wrestlers on Netflix a few years ago, probably really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I know I did. I would
Thank
think I
you.
probably binged it.
Thank you.
So how much of we have Unreal coming? It's been out. It's season two is coming
Mhm.
out with WWE. How much do those shows parallel each other? And what? How did you try to set OVW apart when presenting that organization on screen?
I didn't do anything. Um, I think because I can't comment on Unreal because unfortunately I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this: Unreal is produced by WWE. All right, so of course they're going to have some kind of creative control over what is produced. Um, Wrestlers was produced by BBC America and Greg Whiteley, who amazingly talented director and producer. He did, um, uh, gosh,
Last
the
chance you.
Last Chance You did Cheer,
Okay.
and then did the one on Dallas Cowboys just recently. And I think he's done one. Netflix had him do one on Boston Red Sox, and his caveat when he came in was, I want you to be you. I want you all to be genuine. I don't want you to put on for the camera. And then we, like, quite honestly, this is the truth. We had not seen anything, nothing
Wow.
that he had filmed or how he had put it together until it premiered. Then that was when we all, and I mean everyone that was involved, got to see it. We had no control. We had no say. We had no dictation, no direction, no nothing. And it was all his vision and all his responsibility. So, it turned out amazing. And that's a testament to him and his crew. They showed up the last week of May of that year. They were here and all the way through to the end of August, and they would film 7 days a week, sometimes 12 to 16 hours a day, because they had two crews that worked constantly. And they would film. I mean, they were with me. Our neighbors were like, "What is going on at his house?" Because they would show up with trucks, and there'd be lights outside my house, and people with cameras poking through the windows and to film us. And my wife was like getting fed up with that, but it you know they went for about 3.5 months, and of just filming everything, just constantly filming. You
Yeah, I
know,
only saw positive feedback. Did you get any pushback on exposing the business or anything
Mm-mm.
like that?
No, surprisingly, I thought, because I'm used to being a public figure, and I know that when you're in the center of attention, all of it's not going to be positive, and all of it's not going to be in the front of you. A lot of it's going to be from behind. Um, and I was fully expecting that the nature of social media, it was going to get fried, and no, nobody really. One guy I read a comment on Twitter was like, "Oh, I think that's all put on. They've scripted that for cameras." Like, and I wanted to. I don't respond to those things, but I wanted to go. I wish. I mean, I got one of my talent who's in a car driving 75 miles an hour down the highway, uh, texting on her phone while she's lighting a joint to smoke it while driving. So yeah, I'm not real happy about the fact that that's what's representing what talent is there at OVW, but you can't control it. So
Where do you think OVW stands now? Now, obviously, an independent organization. You kind of do the day-to-day stuff there.
yeah,
What's the status? Where's that business now, do you think?
uh, we're in a good solid place. Of course, we're still struggling. It's always a fight. We're not comfortable. We're not settled because unfortunately for us, we don't yet have a network partner like a lot of other companies do, where they become more a content provider. So we've got to hustle. We're still the real wrestling business. The wrestling business, there's only two business models. One is that you make your income for the business through ticket revenue and merchandise sales, and then monetize your television show through selling your ad inventory, or you get a partner that then pays you for the production of the content. That essentially that content is a commercial for your product, which are the wrestlers that you then try to motivate an audience to want to pay, tickets through ticket revenue to make increased income. And we're on the verge. We're close to getting a partner, television partner, and that's a testament to everyone that's a part of it. Everyone works so hard. We're kind of unique in a lot of ways, in the sense of, one, we do actual weekly live television outside of WWE and AEW. We're, I think, the only company in the world that does that. And then aside from them, and then like this year is a big year for us because June 11th will be our 1400th
Wow.
consecutive episode of television. We're the second longest running consecutive show in the history of the medium. We're 500 episodes in front of SNL. The only thing that comes close to us are news programs in the number of episodes, weekly episodic television. We have a secondary show called Overdrive. August 19th, we'll have our 200th episode of that. And then in December, we do like a pay per view, like called Saturday Night Special. We'll have our 175th one of those in December. So, it's a big year for us. I think we're going to make some big changes finally and make an impact. And outside of that, in the last few years, we've been able to garner the certification from the State Office of Proprietary Education that our academy, our training, wrestling training school, is the only certified as a trade school for professional wrestling, sports entertainment, and broadcasting in the world.
Wow.
No one else has that certification as an actual educational institution. So, I'm really proud of that, and you know, looking to continue to build that as well.
Yeah, congratulations on all that. That's
Thank you.
amazing. I think you had 5 matches last year. Any matches planned this year? Do you think you'll have any? Is this where you announced the John Cena retirement tour?
Well, I don't think anybody will show up for it, but um, there's a couple of them. They still want to trot me out. I, you know, I personally I think I don't want to do it because I think I look too old when I'm in the ring. Because I got gray hair and I got,
Most
I got,
people in wrestling have gray hair now, so I think you're okay.
uh, I got a lot of it. So, and a large part of that is because I decided to become a wrestling promoter. So I didn't have near this amount of gray hair until I bought OVW, and it was like, oh man, I have really pulled a prank on myself. Uh,
At least you got the hair
so
though.
yeah, it's still there. Um, so maybe this, we'll see, we'll see. I'm trying to scale back on the matches, not because I can't do it, and not because I don't enjoy it. And I tell the young guys all the time, I'm like, hey, whatever you want to do, I'll go out there. It's not like you're going to come up with a new way to do it to me. So feel free. And I'm in physical condition enough to be able to do it and not be an embarrassment. But I just some point you walk out there and you know that there are people. You're like the guy at the club, and you feel awkward because you're like, yeah, I'm the oldest guy here. I
Never
look a
want to be
little
that
creepy.
guy.
I look a little creepy. I probably shouldn't be here right now. So I
Absolutely.
kind of feel that way sometimes when I'm in the locker room and I look around and everybody's like in their 20s and it's like, oh look, Grandpa's about to go to the ring. Good.
That's hilarious. Well, Al, I appreciate it. Congratulations on the
Oh,
new
thank you.
film. It's
Yeah,
called Learning You. It's out everywhere as we speak today. January
yeah.
16th is in theaters. So yeah, we'll look for you more on the big screen, on the small screen,
Thank you.
and anywhere else you might appear.
And I want to let everyone know that the producers of Learning You are contributing 100% of the proceeds that they get from the film to families that deal with autism. So I mean it's a great movie and it's a great cause and you just have to go out and have a good time and it's a really emotional story, but the bear kind of puts some little humor in it there, so you know it'll
Awesome.
break it up a little.
Awesome. Well, Al, I appreciate it again. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah. All right, cool. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff. I
All
really
right.
appreciate it too.
Yeah, it was awesome. Have a good one. Good luck with
You
everything.
too. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thank you.